Good morning, everybody. Test, test. Everybody hear me okay? All right, well, welcome to today's Board of Public Works and Safety meeting. Today is Monday, April the 7th. We are streaming live on City Madison YouTube channel, and you can also view it there in its archive format. 21st. Excuse me? You said April 7th. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the minutes. Thank you. Today is April 21st. I apologize. I was looking at the minutes from April the 7th, but we'll have roll call first.
Carl Eaglin.
Here.
Bob Courtney.
Here.
And Dave Carlo.
Here.
And thank you. Board, you've had an opportunity to review the minutes from April the 7th. Have a motion to approve minutes, please.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes as printed.
I'll second that motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Move on to claims.
Mayor had an opportunity to review the claims. We had two sets of claims, general claims and payroll. Seeing everything appears to be in order, I'll make a motion that the claims be approved as submitted.
I'll second David's motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Any adjustments?
No, sir.
All right, moving on to unfinished business. If we could have a motion to take off the table the petition for removal of speed bumps on First Street.
I'll make a motion, we take that off the table.
I'll second David's motion.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All right, let's move on to the petition for removal of speed bumps. So let me get to that. I don't think Carl is here. I see Councilman Tevenall. So at the last meeting, we had presented to us a petition signed by 14 residents of the East First Street neighborhood that said, "We, the residents of East First Street, request that the City of Madison remove the speed bumps in our neighborhood. The speed bumps are no longer needed and are a nuisance." So as a little bit of background, there are two speed bumps between Harrison and St. Michael Street. And the request was to consider removing the speed bumps. And I think we had a resident at the corner of St. Michael's and East First Street who was here in opposition of the removal of the speed bumps. So, is anybody here would like to speak on this matter? If so, please come to the podium. Identify your name and address, please.
Patrick Tevenall, 106 East 3rd. Since the last meeting, I've heard from, I believe, 4 residents down in that area who would like to see the speed bumps remain. One specifically talked about the speed bumps between Harrison and Baltimore, and then everybody else was, I believe, mostly referring to the ones between Baltimore and St. Michael's there. Thank you.
Was there any petition, or you just,
No,
they reached out to you?
it's just people
Okay.
who reached out to me.
All right, thank you, Councilman. Anyone else? Yeah, please come to the podium and address, name and address, please.
My name is Charles Bursch. I went over my past correspondence with Mr. Eaglin and the other gentleman, and they both agreed a year ago in June that these speed bumps needed to stay. Maybe one needed to be improved and made lower, but they both agreed to this. Now, what has changed in a year for this to be so different, other than that petition? I walked around and talked to people. I don't want to stir up my neighbors. Scotts Garden is a great place to live. Carl knows how many people walk First Street up and down that hill right beside my house. And you nonchalantly say, well, they need to use the sidewalk. Well, they don't, sir. And somebody's going to get hit if they don't stop right there. And that's all I got to say. Thank you for your time, but you're making a big mistake if you remove these speed bumps.
Yeah, well, explain that.
Pardon?
Explain why it would be a big mistake, Mr.
Because
Bursch.
somebody will get hurt. See,
well, I
speed
mean, you
is
could
a
say
safety
that.
concern.
Okay.
And the Traffic and Safety Committee recommended that they be left. That was misquoted in the paper.
What was the misquote?
They stated that Pat said that the Safety Committee voted to remove them.
I don't recall that, but
I recalled it.
okay.
It's cause dear to my heart, sir.
I understand.
And I have not seen anything that's changed since these two gentlemen have agreed, you know?
Okay.
So, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Bursch,
Yes.
can we please get your street address so I can?
204 St. Michael's Avenue.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to ask our Chief of Police Scudder, oh, I'm sorry, you have another area resident?
I'm Jan Vatrus, and I live at the corner of 2nd and Baltimore, and I am one of those walkers that walks behind the Fairfield Inn, which is the area that we're talking about. I'm mostly concerned that we keep the speed bump behind the Fairfield Inn between Baltimore and St. Michael's, because it is a very steep hill. Cars do come over that hill, and that speed bump does cause them to slow down, because otherwise they will hurt their car. But without that, it's just a drag race. And that hill is very steep. There is only a sidewalk on one side, and the pedestrian traffic has definitely increased because of the events that are going on at the Fairfield Inn. So I would urge you to keep the speed bump between Harrison and St. Michael's. Thank you.
Jan, what makes you say it's a drag race?
Because the hill is so steep, just gravity makes cars go
I mean,
faster
there
down the hill.
are 3 stop signs in between.
No, it's from the stop sign to the next stop sign. That's the speed bump I'm talking about.
Oh, you're talking about the one on the west end of East First Street.
The one between Baltimore
Yeah.
and St. Michael's,
Okay.
yes. It's a blind, and it's a steep hill.
Okay.
And so it's very important. And I am not aware of other kinds of, either signage would not help, or other factors that would actually slow traffic down going down that hill. So there are other kinds of speed bumps, and I don't have anything to say about the one east of Baltimore, just from Baltimore to St. Michael's. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Scudder. Chief Scudder's here to give us some remarks with regard to the safety of the Scotts Garden, East First Street area.
Yeah, I can't say to remove those speed bumps. I'm not an urban planner, but looking around, I've spent quite a bit of time here in the last couple weeks since the last meeting, driving around, looking at other areas that had similar situations, stop signs, streets with an incline, and none of the rest of those streets have speed bumps. There's a lot of areas in the city that I think need some sort of traffic control, speed bumps. We've talked about stuff on Vaughn Drive, Main Street, but I don't think I would ever give a recommendation to put them on a side street such as East First. There's several streets in the community where people have off-street parking and they have to back out onto the street, and there's no speed bumps in the area. And we have not had issues with people being struck. I will say that from one of the neighborhood watch meetings from people in that community, one of the concerns was sidewalks, the condition of the sidewalks. So I would maybe urge the city to check on the condition of the sidewalks and help move people from the street onto the sidewalks. But I would not make a recommendation to add speed bumps onto that area of East First if they were not already existing.
Chief, do you have any knowledge of any accidents or situations in that area?
I don't have any firsthand knowledge. I'm sure there have been accidents down in that area, just like any area in the city, but I don't think that there's an abundance of them, or they're any higher than anywhere else in the city.
Does anybody here remember when they were installed?
From my understanding, they were installed when they were doing the bridge, and there was an increase in traffic
That was
on
a
East First
detour?
Street. Yes, that was a detour for the bridge, and I believe that's when they were installed, but I can't say for certain.
Gotcha. Okay. Any questions for Chief Scudder while he's here?
Did you notice any blind areas in that area, say from that alley on, that would when you're backing out, pulling out, is there any blind areas?
I think the only time there would be blind areas if there were vehicles parked on the north side of First Street between the alley and Baltimore. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But again, we have that same situation in numerous places throughout the city, and people just need to be aware when they're backing out onto a public road that there's potential for traffic.
I know there's a couple of neighbors there that park back in the alley. They keep
Yes.
from using that steep
Yep.
hill off of St. Michael's.
So
So we have numerous situations in town where people back out without the speed bump being in their
Yes,
block.
yes.
So if we just went by that assumption, then, I mean, we'd be looking at speed bumps all over town, in practically every neighborhood.
We would, and I would not make a recommendation for speed bumps all over the
I
city.
mean, look at all the subdivisions on the hilltop where people,
And I think that is actually more common on the hilltop because there's a lot more people on the hilltop have off-street parking or their driveways. They'll have one or two car driveway and they have to force them to back out onto the streets.
probably busier streets also,
Yes,
more traffic on those streets. So.
that would be pretty normal, yeah.
Thank you,
Thank you.
So the reason we're here, and we have another
No,
resident who'd
excuse
like to make a statement.
Hi, my name is Lisa Ferguson. I live at 718 East 2nd Street. Because I live on 2nd Street, really doesn't affect me much what happens on 1st Street, other than when we drive our LSV past. That's occasionally. But when Charlie started this whole conversation back and forth with the mayor, he simply said, it can't be that one person wants something and 14 don't, or 14 want it and 4 don't. If it's a regulation, we have to obey that. That's just simply how we live. So whatever you all come up with, I don't think it's, I want this and you want that. There's a lot of things I want that I can't have in this town. There's a lot of things I love about this town that other people think I'm crazy about. Make your recommendation based on what the law says. How do we need speed bumps? What makes us have them? What is the reason for that? And we all just have to learn to live with that and deal with it. Because I live on 2nd, I didn't sign my name to that petition when Debbie came around with it because I don't live on 1st Street, so I didn't feel like it was up to me or Charlie to sign it. But as a person who lives in what's called Scott's Garden, I just think if you come up with your recommendation based on what the state says, why you don't have them in all the other streets in town that are much busier than where we live, fortunately, because the bridge traffic has moved off a 2nd. We're grateful for that. And that's all I just want to say. If we're going 14 to 4, we're going whatever, that doesn't matter. Matters to me, whatever the state regulations are for having a speed bump there. So, thank you.
Patrick Tevin on 106 East 3rd. One other bit of information might be useful for you guys. The easternmost speed bump, the middle section of it has already been damaged and removed from the street. So there's only a portion of it left on the north and south side of the road there. So if I could offer my personal recommendation based on having walked and knocked doors in that area, is removing that one as it's already damaged. The westernmost speed bump is in good condition still, and as it's already there, like Chief Scudder said, I don't think we would be wanting to place a new one, but since it's already there, I'd recommend that you guys consider leaving that one.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Hi, Jim Olson, 610 East 2nd Street, block away from the western of the two. To me, the western speed bump makes sense for safety. Just thinking that people, you say there's a stop sign very close, but living there, people accelerate from the stop signs very quickly. They pick up speed. It makes sense to slow them down before they start down that steep hill. That is quite a steep incline. Stopping distance gets much more difficult coming down that hill. For people that aren't aware of it, it's a safety hazard potentially pulling out across the crosswalk if there were pedestrians walking up or down St. Michael Street. But just
Thank you, Jim. Any other remarks or comments? Well, I was just going to say, the reason we're here and why it's different maybe than a year ago is that there was a petition delivered to us who's asking us to evaluate the safety of the area and also the policy of what level of traffic control methods we should be using in our neighborhoods. And what's the purpose of that particular speed bump being there? It was there and installed there because that was a detour route when the bridge was under construction. So it did experience a lot of increased traffic flow during the period in which the bridge was constructed. And yes, it's nice to have them because people want to, as we're saying, maybe walk down the middle of the street, but we're not encouraging people to walk in the middle of the street. We're encouraging them, and we're investing a lot of money to make our community more pedestrian-friendly with improvements to our sidewalks, as well as our crosswalks. It takes a lot of work to overcome that, but we're doing it. And even this year, we're making a big investment in crosswalk safety in 2 major corridors on Main Street, and then other areas across our community. You've probably heard me state multiple times, from a policy perspective, we would not install speed bumps. There's other traffic control methods that will accomplish the same thing, and it could be a stop sign, or it could be another form of a speed table or a speed hump, for example. So from a policy perspective, I don't see the purpose of it, particularly in a short stretch of a side road like this that already has 3 stop signs. And so I don't believe the mitigating factors are blind spots or people walking down the middle of the road. And there are lots of examples where people can safely back out of their driveways and get onto a street safely, and people can walk around safely and be more aware of the situation. So from my perspective, I think they've fulfilled their purpose. We would not install them. I don't see any reason to have them. I'll let the other board members chime in if they'd like.
I know to get a date when that speed bump was installed on that hill. I can't.
Probably 10 years ago.
I mean, was it during the bridge construction? I'm not sure. Is that when it was? Okay.
Yeah, over 10 years ago.
Okay, nobody can really say for sure. Okay.
I would like to just add one thing that also has changed. You talked about it was for the increased traffic. The other thing that's happened is the Fairfield Inn. There is a lot more parking, traffic, walking. There is a sidewalk only on the north side, but there is parking regularly on both sides of First Street between Harrison and St. Michael, and all along St. Michael now. And as Jim Olson stated, because that is a steep hill and blind, people coming into that, people walking in the crosswalk, cars trying to pull in and park, the increased traffic from the Fairfield Inn is something you should definitely consider. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Any other comments?
Mayor, I agree with what you were saying.
I have a comment.
Excuse me, sir.
ahead.
Excuse me, sir.
Sure.
Let Mr. Carlo finish, please.
I would say I would agree with you normally. If this topic came up to install a speed bump in that area, with none presently there, I wouldn't see the need to have one installed. Doing a lot of research over the past couple weeks, Googling speed bumps, advantages, disadvantages, just some things to think about here. Things that probably I wouldn't have considered, just, looking at the situation and evaluating. But sometimes their use is controversial, as they can increase traffic noise and may damage vehicles if traversed at too great a speed, and they slow emergency vehicles. And I can vouch for that specifically because I was a member of the fire department. I drove a fire truck. I know whenever I would be driving and come to a speed bump, it would significantly slow me down because of the size of the vehicle and the make of the vehicle. So I can relate to that situation. Speed bumps can also pose serious hazards to motorcyclists and bicyclists if they are not visibly apparent and not know that they're there and they hit them. Some other disadvantages, like I said, slow response time of emergency vehicles, fire trucks, ambulances, police cars. Something that Lisa referred to was it may divert traffic to parallel residential streets. So in that situation, maybe vehicles that would normally use First Street because of the speed bump, maybe they go ahead up and use Second Street. So possible increase in noise and pollution for residents living immediately adjacent to the speed bumps. And other sources argue that speed bumps distract drivers from other hazards such as children, walkers. Like I said, they increase pollution. They are a compromise for more active enforcement. And bus drivers, other vehicles, they avoid certain streets where speed bumps are used. So that gets into diverting traffic off of one street onto another because of a speed bump. So, let's see. Getting back to the emergency vehicle response, studies have showed response time is slowed by 3 to 5 seconds per bump for fire trucks and fire engines, and up to 10 seconds for ambulances with patients on board. So, again, this is something you wouldn't think about, but an ambulance that's got a patient on board, you're transporting to the hospital, serious transport, they have to slow down in order to cross a speed bump. It could be a life or death situation. So, snowplows, it's a hazard for snowplow drivers during the winter months. So, it's just some things to think about. Other than, well, I want speed bumps or I don't want speed bumps, okay? Here's some reasons why, some other things to think about, so. Mr. Birch?
I would like to know if there has been an official traffic count. You say the traffic has slowed down because the bridge is open now. State Road 56 is closed. People use First Street immensely. And until 56 opens, they shoot down, they go up First Street, boom, they can try to hit Second. Sit in my backyard and watch the traffic on the weekends when these festivals are going on and all the people coming off the bridge. And that's the quickest way to the river, and that's where they're going. It's not the quickest way to Main Street. I'm not saying the police didn't look, but I'm saying they need to come up and sit in my backyard and watch the traffic and the pedestrian traffic beside my house before you remove that speed bump. That's all I'm asking.
I understand it. Sir, I live on Main Street.
I know where you
can
live.
sit on my porch and see
Yeah.
8,000 cars a day that I'm backing out onto Main Street.
I see you riding a bicycle.
And I love Scotts Garden. That's a beautiful neighborhood. Love it down there. That's why I'm running and biking and walking in that area a lot.
And
So I understand what you're saying. What we're trying to say is, from a policy perspective, that is not the best way right, for
Well, then put a stop
traffic,
sign
for
there.
traffic
You mentioned
control.
the stop sign.
There
Put a
are
stop
already,
sign.
there's 3 stop signs there.
No, there's only 2.
Well, there, if you,
If you put one at the alley and
If
stop
you're-
traffic at the alley and remove the speed bump,
if you come off of Harrison Street,
right?
you hit a stop sign,
Right?
Clay
and then you
Street.
get another stop sign at
Sorry?
Harrison, and then you get another stop sign at St. Michael's. So in that, just a few, very short period, there are 3 stop signs.
And it doesn't slow them down. Come sit on my back porch someday,
I understand.
you know. That's
We all have our own personal
Carl
experiences.
lived there. I'm not asking this for me backing out.
Yeah.
It does help that bump's
Yeah.
there because I know they're going to slow down, but I didn't ask for that. When I asked for that speed bump, I asked to slow them down. And this was before the Marriott was even thought about, you know? And the sidewalks on the south side up through First Street are terrible. People don't want to walk on them. There's that much height in them.
We have
This
a
gentleman
sidewalk,
right here knows.
I know very well too, we have a sidewalk asset management plan, and that's why we're investing heavily
Okay.
in sidewalk repairs and replacement throughout the
You
entire
seem
city,
to
but
forgot
especially
up there,
historic.
but
The city has not forgotten up there, sir.
seems to.
You've seen a tremendous amount.
I've seen a bunch of
revitalization.
money poured around the Marriott, but I ain't seen nothing going up First Street yet.
That is incorrect. If you go from St. Michael's to Harrison, you see property after property that has been revitalized, one of which I bought and did myself. So I know that area very well. That's why I think it's a beautiful area.
Well, then you ought to think there ought to be a speed bump on First Street, sir.
Well, we don't put speed bumps anywhere else in the city.
It's already there.
Thank you. Any other discussion? I'll move that we authorize removal of the speed bumps on East First Street. No demonstrated safety concerns, and it certainly is not a form of traffic control we would utilize today. Second.
Did you second?
No.
Mayor, I will agree with Mr. Birch. A year ago, over the past year, evaluating that area, driving that area frequently, several times a week when I come off the bridge, I take the shortcut down First Street, down St. Michael's to the riverfront. So I've had a lot of experience, a lot of time to evaluate that situation. Personally, when I'm driving there, I hardly ever encounter a pedestrian walking or another vehicle on that section of First Street. So with that in mind, I will second the motion to remove the speed bumps on First Street.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Clerk?
Roll call. Carl Eagle,
Yes.
Bob Courtney.
Yes.
Dave Carwell.
Yes.
Thank you, Board. Thank you for everybody who's here speaking on this matter. We have another item that's been tabled with Utility Superintendent Brian Jackson. I move that we take off the table the Water Project Division B Certificate of Substantial Completion.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Good morning, Brian.
Morning. We've got the Division B, as you said, it's for NW Cole Contracting, it's the final certificate of substantial completion. The date of substantial completion will be today, April 21st, 2025, and it basically is, the certificate applies, has been expected by authorized representative of the owner, the contractor and engineer, and found to be substantially complete. You've got the actual document there. I've got Riley here from Commonwealth if you have any questions on the substantial completion.
Brian, I don't appreciate your all's diligence on this. How substantial is the punch list?
Riley?
Good evening, everyone.
Hi.
Punch list is primarily surface restoration,
Oh.
which is, right now is the perfect time to do it. And a few areas that need some paint touch-up, but they're on areas that are not submerged or within the tank, so they can be just touched up as we're going through and restoring surface.
When do you believe the punch list will be completed and retainage released?
From this council meeting, 30 days after that is when they are finally complete, so retainage would be anticipated to be released at the board meeting in May.
In May, perfect, okay. Board, any questions for Riley or Brian? And you need a motion for us to accept this certificate of substantial completion?
Yes,
correct. Well, I move that we accept the substantial completion upon recommendation of Commonwealth and our utility superintendent.
Second your motion.
Any discussion? Comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, guys.
And then we have the next item
All right, we have one
on the
more.
agenda.
Yes, we have the Division B change order.
Change order.
Correct, and that also is Division B. It's change order number 3. It's where we removed a ladder from the hillside in-ground tank that we were going to install. We removed it from the project, and they're going to give us a credit. So that, once they've given us the credit, Riley will get the numbers, and we'll know their final, words are, retainage.
Yep.
Because we should be getting a credit from that. We don't owe them at 17,000, so the retainage amount should decrease a little bit.
So I move we accept proposed change order number 3 in the amount of a credit back of $17,000.
Second your motion.
Any discussion? Comments or questions? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Brett Ricketts on Senior Center contract? Well, it says Senior Center, I'm sorry. It's for the contract for BYB Event
Yeah.
Services.
Good
Excuse me.
morning.
Good morning.
So this contract is for the inflatable rentals for the Christmas celebration. So if we go and get this approved, then I can go ahead and get those held so no one else can take them for that event.
That's a good question. Okay, well, Carl, you had a question about generator on here.
Yeah, do
Yeah.
we need to rent a generator? Don't say they have one.
You know, I'm not for sure.
I think
It's
they
been-
bring them because they have to keep the inflatables inflated during the whole day while they're there.
Yes,
So they
when
bring
we-
them with the inflatables.
Yeah, when we have it down at Bicentennial Park, they use the electric there.
Yeah.
But I think where they set up around the Broadway fountain, that it causes issues. And I don't know if we have a generator, but.
I don't think we have a couple of generators that are mobile, portable like this, Carl.
Okay.
It comes with the whole package of setup and installation and maintenance while they're here.
Okay. I'm just curious, 'cause
Yeah.
save a little money.
Yeah.
Well, we're already planning for Christmas, planning ahead.
I know,
It's
yeah.
important. It'll be here before we know it. I move that we approve the proposal for $3,800 for BYB Event Services.
I'll second your motion with a question.
Okay, for discussion?
I think I know probably the answer, but these costs will be fundraised,
Yes,
To-
these will be sponsored, yeah.
the sponsors, yeah.
Mhm.
So, okay.
We have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brett. Mass Police Department Chief Scudder. Retire,
Hello.
K-9.
Yes, so Trent Smith recently took a position with another agency. He was the canine handler for Colt, who the department's had since 2018, but the dog is about 8.5 years old. The useful life expectancy for those dogs is about 10 years, 9 to 10 years is about how long they stay in service for, or until they're 9 or 10 years old. So he's coming up on when he would have to retire anyway, and since Trent left, we don't want to reinvest more money into training a new handler for him since we've only going to have him for another year or so. So we would like to go ahead and retire that dog and let Trent retain ownership of him.
Does that agreement, I'm assuming, is there an agreement that we're actually be executing? And then are there any terms to the agreement?
Yeah, there are. In the past, we've done this a couple of times
Okay.
in the past, but nobody can seem to find the documents.
Yeah.
So I'll create the documents pursuant to exactly what we've done in the past. Essentially, what it covers is liability. It's my understanding, haven't you guys continued to provide food for the dog? Or
I don't
guess-
think we provide food, but medical bills.
Okay, medical bills.
Yeah.
I think they continue to provide some type of, for veterinary bills or things like that. And then I think you're right. It's the responsibility of the owner to provide the food, et cetera.
Is there any element of the agreement that precludes him being placed back in service with a different agency?
Yes, and I've spoken with Trent about that, and he's in agreement that once we retire the dog, it will stay into retirement.
Well, we appreciate both Trent and Colt's service.
Yes,
They're invaluable resources for our community.
they are. Colt's been a great dog. He's produced a lot of results, resulted in a lot of arrests, taken a lot of drugs off the street. But as I said, we just can't justify putting the money back in to retrain a new handler, so.
I'll make a motion that we accept the retirement canine officer.
Is that going to be pending the contract, the signed
Yes.
contract with Trent?
If it's okay with you guys, you can delegate the mayor to finalize it with the officer and Chief Scudder and Joe.
We'll do that.
Chief, how many K-9 will that leave us?
3. We're still at 3.
Still have 3?
Yes, sir.
Great.
So we're covered on in that aspect.
Any additional questions? Any comments? I'm sorry, what's that?
I just had a motion.
Yeah, we have a motion. I'll
I'll second.
Okay, Dave will second it. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks, Chief. Director of Facilities, Streets, and Solid Waste, Chris Hale, on NDOT Construction Change Order 5. Why don't you give us a little background on what this particular project is and why the change order is here, Chris?
Yeah, sure.
Thank
So
you.
this is the Clifty Drive project, as we're all aware, is currently ongoing. This particular change order, number 5, is related to the asbestos abatement, as they've found asbestos pipe throughout the project. Obviously, we've had to pay to abate that. So a couple key items that you'll want to know there is this actually does reduce the price per square foot from the previous price of $300 down to $252 per foot, not square foot, linear foot, right? And we have confirmed that this is a participating item, so it will be included in the 80-20 match with the state. And then this would also approve up to an additional 1,000 feet of abatement as they continue the project. We expect they'll continue to find that
Okay.
pipe.
Will that 1,000 feet take us to the termination point? I mean,
Yes,
will it take us over to Michigan? 'Cause
Yes, we
That's
don't,
been one of my concerns is how much are we going to find? How much is the problem going to grow to?
no, it
Okay.
is not expected to use the entire 1,000
Okay.
feet, we'll say. So we expect that to complete the project.
Gotcha. And they're making good progress already since they've just, remobilized.
Yeah, they're already starting to make good progress. We have meetings every 2 weeks up on the hilltop to discuss the progress and the timing. They're already trying to plan when the paving will take place this year. And I travel that road frequently, so obviously I have a vested interest in making sure it doesn't drag on any longer than it needs.
It's a very well-traveled road, and we'll say that, the way they've got the lanes diverted is a little confusing on the eastbound side in particular, but
Yes, I've offered my thoughts. They have traffic engineers who are apparently better at that than me, but
Yeah.
I do feel there could be some improvement there. We've expressed that, Chief and I both. So we'll continue to do so.
Any other questions for Chris on this matter? I'm glad to see that it's forward-thinking, meaning, removal of more asbestos-containing pipe in order to, make way for the sidewalk. And our responsibility is, when we have any utilities below surface that interfere in the right-of-way, it's the utilities' responsibility or the city's responsibility for removing them.
Yeah, and it seems highly unlikely that the pipe just stopped where we stopped at the project, right? It seems most likely that we will continue to find it as we go.
Chris, I've looked this over and looked it over, and am I seeing this right? Is that $500,000?
Yes, so.
For total.
In
Total.
Not for us, but it's
Yeah.
a total.
Yeah, we will be,
For the removal.
yes, we'll be on the hook for 20%.
That's a
of that.
cumulative amount, too.
Correct, that's the.
Because I remember this coming up before us
Yeah.
last year.
So basically,
once they found it.
we have about 250 in it. This would approve another up to 250 round numbers, right? 20% of that would be our match.
Man, need to start an asbestos removal firm.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it is not cheap to abate asbestos.
Wow.
Any comments or questions? Move we approve change order 5 as presented, and noting the 80/20, that it is a participatory change
Correct.
order.
We have emails confirming
Okay,
it is
good.
participatory from the state.
I'll second the mayor's motion.
Any discussion, comments, or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
I have a question.
Sure.
The mudslide there on Michigan Road, where part of the wall is slid down.
Correct, yes.
Got any idea what we're gonna do with that, and when we're gonna do it, or?
Yeah, so on Fairmount Drive,
Yes.
right? Yeah,
Where
so.
it came down.
Wait a minute, are you talking about where the wall collapsed, or are you
Yeah.
talking about something else?
Well, where it came down to the edge of Michigan Road.
Yes, that.
Yeah,
Okay,
so
that's it.
that's the
Fairmount.
Fairmount wall,
Uh-huh.
yes. So we're in the middle of, we've had discussions with our engineers, and we're in the middle of getting some contractors to give us quotes. We're working on a plan there.
Okay, I know you've been busy with everything, with the flood and everything, but I see it every day, that was part of that weekend rain that we had.
Oh, yeah.
so-
Yes, correct. The rain has helped to destabilize that hill there, along with a couple other factors. So like I said, we've had some engineers consulting to get their direction, and we're gonna have at least 3 companies quote stabilizing the hillside
And
to
do you
move
think
forward.
the wall will go back like it was before? Is that the plan, or do we not have we not gone that far yet?
So we're still working on that.
Okay.
What I would say is the wall isn't required to stabilize the hillside,
It's not.
but I think that we can work with the residents up there in a constructive manner, that we provide the stabilization, and there's a possibility for them to work with us to put the wall back. All of the pieces of the wall are still there,
Yeah,
and it is a character
it
feature.
does. It adds to the neighborhood.
You can see the stabilization that was done uphill from
Yes.
that, we'll say, in the early 80s, and it's
Right.
actually held up well for the amount of time it's been there. So we're looking at just replicating that on further down the hill, because the wall basically collapsed about 5-6 feet past where they stopped
Yeah,
that, right?
exactly right. Okay.
So-
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. I'll be happy to
Sounds
update
like
you
it.
anytime
Sounds
you
like a
need.
Good plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anything else, guys?
I've
Thank you.
I've been asked dozens of times about that wall.
We are working on the wall.
What happened, whether somebody hit it with a vehicle or whether it collapsed, and then I
No,
finally
it's
found
just
out.
where they stopped the stabilization over the last 50-plus years. You can see, the roads kind of pulled that way, and as it moved, the wall just kind of rode the hill down, because the
Yeah.
wall wasn't actually holding the hill up, and it wasn't going to stop a car right
As
there.
a victim of the slide.
Yeah, it was more a victim of the hill, which is why I say the wall's not really required, but it does add character.
It'd be rebuilt better than before, so.
Yeah. Still won't stop a car or the hillside.
We'll get another 100 years out of it, so.
I'll be gone by then, so sure.
Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Steinhardt's here to talk about guardrail removal on a portion of Michigan Road.
Yes, good afternoon, Board of Public Works members. John Demery, an owner along Michigan Road, has the opportunity to
build 2 homes there on the golf course on Michigan Road, and has asked the city for consideration at his expense to reconstruct the guardrail in a new manner, allow an egress off of Michigan Road there to facilitate that, and he's here today to speak in that regard. All of the costs would be borne by him, the developer, for those 2 lots.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Good morning.
John Demery, 1938 Michigan Road.
Tell us a little bit about the project.
Well, to the north of my house, we'd like to put in an ingress egress to get into the 2 lots that we went to the zoning board to get rezoned or approved to build a couple of residences there.
Did that get approved?
It was
Okay.
approved, yeah,
Okay.
it's platted, it's been recorded.
Okay, great.
So there's a guardrail presently with not much of an elevation change. And what we're proposing is to remove the guardrail down to the ingress egress. And we would put a culvert in and do away with the ditch so that it's just a gentle slope into the yard. And then we would propose that we arc the guardrail that's left. There is a need for a guardrail at the end of the property because of the significant elevation change. But that's pretty much it.
How many feet of the guardrail are we actually removing?
I would say probably 50 feet.
Okay. And have you already applied for a permit with the building department
I have
for
not,
the driveway?
have not, no, I'm
Okay.
wanting to get,
All right, so just so you know, there'd be kind of 2 steps. One is going ahead and removing the guardrail.
sure,
And then, but there's actually a permit process for your driveway to come out onto our
Sure.
street. So
sure.
I think that's where that'll get a lot of very thorough review there as well. But
Ah.
just so you know, there is a permit
Okay.
process for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm happy to see you building 2 homes. Tell us about the homes.
Well, they're just a patio-type home, a narrow front elevation and a garage for golf carts. There's really for a retirement-type move down.
We need more homes like that. Can you build about 100 more of them?
I'd like to build
Can you
about
s-
100 more right there.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah. But we're kind of excited, and I think it'll fit the neighborhood.
I know you've been working on this for a while, so thank you for investing there. We'll do our part to help do it safely and also facilitate the construction of a couple houses.
All right.
The only question I have, John, is I think when the Cheathams lived there, I think there was a septic tank in that lot. Can you check to make sure that that's properly taken
I
care
have
of?
no idea, but we would certainly, that would have to come out, obviously.
Yeah.
It's not an active septic tank. You're saying it's an old
No,
one?
no, it's
Oh,
all-
yeah,
It's all
yeah,
sewer
yeah.
now, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But that was,
But-
a house was put there for good.
Certainly, you can't build on it.
Right, all right, thank you.
John, you had mentioned about installing a culvert.
Right.
Will this affect the drainage in any
Well,
way,
the
or?
thing about that is, it's near the crest of the hill, so there's really not a lot of water volume coming through there. It's got an 18-inch culvert that goes under the existing driveway, and we would just connect to that and run it under the whole length to the end of the ingress egress that we're proposing.
Okay.
Commission, we've worked with Chris Hale as well. If you would just make as part of your motion that John coordinates with him for the construction of the guardrail, that would be appreciated.
Any additional comments or questions? I assume we can do this with simple motion rather than a resolution. I move that we approve the request for modification, removal, partial removal, subject to adequate permit for the driveway for John.
I'll second the motion
You just-
with the comment that he does work closely with Chris Hale on
Yep.
this
Certainly.
project.
Any additional comments or questions, discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thanks, John.
Thank you for
Appreciate
your
it.
time.
Tony, you have another update for us?
Unless you have questions, I'm happy to update you on, I do have one update on the Comfort Station renovation. Since I have time in front of you today, I thought I'd give you an update. Now that we understand the condition of the bicentennial restrooms, the moisture is still high in that, and the Comfort Station restrooms on Main Street, we have good news. The actual sinks have come in a couple weeks early. So we're going to move to finish the renovations of the Comfort Station starting this Thursday on Main Street, and we'll have them reopened for a grand reopening on May 7th with Visit Madison as they become a tenant to provide a great customer experience and visitor experience for those coming to Madison this summer. And I want to just remind everybody that the JCBT gave us a grant for both those restrooms as well as some city dollars, but most of that money's coming from our visitors through the bed tax, innkeeper's tax for both the bicentennial and the Comfort Station. Both facilities will get new sinks, new paint, partitions, and new flooring. So unfortunately, the bicentennial flooring had been completed about a week and a half or 2 weeks prior to, and the painting had been done prior to the flood. We'll have to repaint, and we'll be assessing the flooring here in the coming week. So I'll keep you posted on those restroom renovations. But
Is that an insurance claim on that?
there will be a number of insurance claims, Carl, and we're working through that. The adjusters made it to town on Thursday, Chris?
Friday, and they'll be back.
They came in town on Thursday, Friday for Crystal Beach, and they'll be back in town later this week for the rest of the property.
Very good, thank you.
Any questions? I should say that we will have temporary restrooms both at Crystal Beach and at Bicentennial Park later this week with hand washing stations. So that'll be put into place, and
I know it'd be
Us walkers appreciate that.
a little bit of a disruption, but, we're making improvements, and we just ask for everybody's patience. It's a major improvement, interrupted by a flood, so to speak.
Andrew Forrester's actually here. If you have any comments about what your operation's going to look like, you might just share.
We are, and sorry, I was out in the hall talking, but we're planning to staff it 7 days a week, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. We've got staff lined up for that, and so we're going to get rolling on it, and we may adjust that when we get toward the winter, when things are a little bit slower, but for right now, that's the plan. We're wanting to stick with 7 days a week and be a presence.
What were the hours again?
9 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Wow, that's awesome.
So the goal is, serve the visitors on Main Street, serve the people that are walking up and down Main Street, come in and get some cool air, use the restroom, and just be a friendly presence there for people on Main. So, yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, and thank you both. Thanks for VMI's efforts. Thanks, Tony, also for mentioning the grants from the Jefferson County Board of Tourism. Those are tourism dollars that are being reinvested back in our community to improve our community, not only for the visitors, but for everybody.
Yeah, and I would also say with having a full-time presence there during the day, that should also help with any of the loitering we've been having challenges with over the last couple of years. So we think this is a good program for both our visitors as well as others who will use those restrooms.
Well, while we're here and we have Andrew, would you like to give us the announcement about the trolley rebranding since you're here? I think it'd be a great thing to learn more about as well.
Yeah, we're excited. We appreciate the city's support with the trolleys, and we rebranded the trolleys to the Madison Trolley Line, which talks a little bit about it keeps the history of the Madison trolleys, but it also builds on what we hope to be not just 2 trolleys, but in the future, maybe there's 3, something like that. And it also builds on our railroad history and connecting people to the Hilltop, to Hanover College. Of course, Hanover contributed a significant amount of money toward the trolleys, and so hopefully it's building on all of that. So we rebranded. We announced that rebrand this last week. We will be announcing programming for the trolleys, so guided tours, free routes, and some special events. We'll be announcing that during Tourism Week here 2 weeks from now. So
Yeah.
it's exciting. We're looking forward to sharing all these plans. We've got, obviously, with the comfort station, the trolleys, got a lot of things really rolling, and we'll have a lot of big announcements on Tourism Week, so.
Be ramping up.
Any idea of including Clifty Falls? Park
Yes.
Area on your
On the routes,
Mhm.
yes. We're going to kind of start out and give this a try. Obviously, we've got one trolley right now. I don't want to get too ahead of myself and share all of our routes before we officially announce them, but the hope is to start off, include Clifty Falls in that. Once we get the second trolley, then we can do a lot more because we'll have two. If we try and get to a lot of these places like Hanover with one trolley, the routes just become, hour, 90 minutes between stops, and that's just not sustainable. So once we get the second, then we can expand a little bit more, and we'll be continually looking at the data to see, what's there, the people that are using it, when are they using it, and we'll adjust as we go. But the goal is to connect Hanover, Clifty. We know there's tens of thousands, if you'd believe it, visitors to Clifty Falls every year that don't come into Madison.
Yeah, I believe it.
They're driving a dually truck, or they're driving an RV. They don't have a place to park, but they want to come downtown. So hopefully we can connect them through these trolleys.
That'd be great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you.
Andrew, the new trolleys, are they going to be painted?
The one will stay white. We've got a new one that's coming in July that we've got a little different color scheme on. The white is good for weddings. People really enjoy that, but we wanted a little bit of color with the other one. So it'll also help when we do free routes, when there's a route downtown and when there's a route going out to Hanover to Clifty, so that people don't get on the wrong one and end up out at Clifty. Hopefully having them a little different color might help with that. So
I was wondering if you'd have like identification, Madison trolley line.
Yep, we're working on
So-
the decal on that and making sure that it's also identified, get the city seal on there with the partnership with the city. And so working on that, they will not have advertising on the outside. We're going to try and keep the look a little bit cleaner on the outside and have some maybe advertising on the inside. We've had a lot of sponsors jump up already. Madison Automotive on the Hilltop has sponsored the fuel for the year. And so they've just jumped right in and said,
That's great.
how can we partner? Super Shine, they're cleaning them for us. So it's something people want to be involved in.
Sure.
It's really neat.
When you're proud of your community, and we invest in making our community more beautiful, more want to be involved. And, like with our events, our community events throughout the course of the year that benefit so many people, it's because of how generous our individuals and business communities are. So I'm really happy and grateful for all of them.
That's right. Absolutely. Cool.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you for your
Exciting
support.
times.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we'll talk to you in a few minutes.
Before we move on to the resolutions, we have several here. I do want to ask Brian Shaw, or did he just now leave? He's been here the entire time. Our building inspector had a couple of things he wanted to share with the board before we get into the other business of the resolutions. We've already heard from Deputy Mayor Steinhardt, Chief of Police, Director of Facilities Kersale, Chief Scudder, Brian Jackson. And so now we'll have Brian Shaw. Morning, Brian.
Good morning, Brian Shaw, Building Inspector, Madison. I want to bring up 755 West 3rd Street. I had dialogue with...
Want to give us a little background on the issue with 755 West 3rd Street?
Yeah, so for about 2 years, we've been working with the previous owners to get the unsafe structure tore down. And then it was sold this summer. And part of the escrow was an agreement, once the closing of the house, they had 2 weeks to tear the structure down. So we've given a little bit extra time, and Mr. Ravender did come in and sign a abatement plan like we're working on with the ordinance. But I didn't agree to it because he said he wanted to tear it down by Christmas. So I told him he had roughly 2 weeks, 10 business days to get it torn down. And that was on the 14th. So he has a few more days to get the structure torn down, but nothing has been done. So just want to kind of get it on record where we're at and where we stand with that. So if I need to come back to the next meeting, we can discuss my order of having it demoed out.
Well, that's one you've been working on for a while. And just to clarify a little bit, their responsibility is to abate the unsafe elements of the structure.
Correct.
And they have asked you for permission to demolish the structure.
Correct.
Okay, and you've agreed to give them the time needed to abate it, and it just has not been completed. So that's why you're going to bring it back to the Board of Public Works in a future meeting?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
My memory's not all that great, but did we not go ahead and issue an order to demolish?
We gave them a permit.
Okay,
Yes.
They requested and
You
applied
didn't-
for a demolition permit.
Right.
okay.
So that was, I probably should have done the order, but yeah, so we're at now where I need to,
Okay, so,
he has 4 days and then I'm going to place the order.
okay, so you'll have to place that order, and then we will have to go through the notice
Hearing.
process, because we'll have to have a hearing and all of the above.
If it's not voluntarily done.
Yes.
So just FYI.
Yes,
Yep.
thank you, Joe. Thank
Okay.
you.
And I can work with you on figuring that out. I believe there's a step-by-step process, but if you don't have it,
Thank you.
Brian, when was the demolition permit issued?
I believe, I have to look back on that, but I believe it was in September.
And is there a time limit?
No, I am going to
Before it
work on
expires?
changing that, but we have no expiration on our demolition permits, unfortunately.
there may be a statutory.
Okay, we can look,
But we can look at that. I believe I don't think it'd be less than a year.
Well, thank you for your due diligence on that, and I believe the city's been more than patient in helping work through the issues, the health issues, the change of ownership issues, and now it's time for the action. It's
Yeah,
been a long time, and that structure has been like that for an extremely long time.
yeah, it's definitely a safety hazard. It ends up in the alley. We got a mess on our hands, so absolutely.
Thank you for the update. Anything else?
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Okay.
Yep, thanks.
Okay, now we'll move through the resolutions.
We have several resolutions. The first one being 2025-13B, resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana regarding parking spaces for the 2025 Freedom Center's Mindful Connections. Whereas there's been a request filed by Emily Applegate on behalf of the Freedom Center for parking space closings for said group in connection with the 2025 Mindful Connections event to be held on May 17, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that 14 parking spaces located along Bicentennial Park on the north side of Vaughn Drive and the south side of Bicentennial Park shall be reserved for food truck parking only from 3 p.m. to 10 p.m. on May 17th, 2025. Be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety that said parking spaces shall be closed and be under supervision and control of the Freedom Center at the time noted above for the year 2025.
Okay, is there anyone here to represent the Freedom Center? Hi. Your name and address, please?
Emily Applegate, 5525 North Dalbridge Road, Madison.
Dina Andrew, 119 St. Michael's Avenue.
You can pull that down a little bit. If it's
Thank you,
there,
I know, I'm
you
short.
go. Well, thanks for being here. Tell us a little bit about the event that you're planning on May 17th.
Okay, so I'm the Hub of Help Director at the Freedom Center, which is suicide prevention and grief support. And May is Mental Health Month, and so we wanted to plan our first annual. We hope it will be continuance every year for people that maybe find themselves hearing that their sister's going to Wellstone or LifeSpring, and it may be scary to them. So our idea was to get all the mental health people together. Our heart behind it was to break stigma behind mental health and have the police officers there as well, so that if they need a call for help, it doesn't have to be intimidating. So we wanted to plan this on Mental Health Month and do it May 17th and make it a free family fun day. And we have flyers here if anybody would like to see the flyers. So the idea is we're going to have a passport. There's going to be lots of people set up, LifeSpring, Centerstone, the hospitals, the schools. There'll be games for the children. They'll get a prize, and they'll get a stamp on the passport. When the passport's complete, they get to go to Kona Ice, get a free Kona Ice. The police department, the law enforcement, sheriff's department will be grilling hot dogs and playing Frisbee with the kids on site. So everything is intended to be free for the family. We will have the 2 food trucks for purchase there.
Should be.
And so we don't want to close down Vaughn Drive, but we would like to have those parking spots facing the sidewalk so that it's safe for people to go to the food trucks.
So you reserved the whole park, Bicentennial Park for that day? Sounds like a great event. Good luck with it. Any questions for
You said no
For
street
Emily.
closures of any kind that are unnecessary?
No.
For this event?
It's for the food trucks.
Yeah. And the parking. I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-13B.
I'll second Carl's motion.
Any discussion? Comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Dan, I'd love to do a proclamation in May at the council meeting, if you would come.
I would love to.
And we would present Mental Health Awareness Month.
That'd be awesome.
We'll get in touch with you.
Okay.
Thank you, too, Emma.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Next resolution is 2025-14B, a resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana regarding a street closing for the Jefferson County Public Library. Whereas there's been a request filed by Kara Monsinger on behalf of the Jefferson County Public Library for a street closing in connection with their Touch a Truck summer reading kickoff to be held on Monday, June 2nd, 2024. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the southbound and northbound lanes of Broadway Street from the north side of Main Street to the south side of 3rd Street shall be closed from 8 a.m. to 12 p.m. on Monday, June 3rd, 2024. Be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that said streets as closed shall be under supervision and control of the Jefferson County Public Library at the times noted above for the year 2025.
Good morning.
My name is Kara Bonsinger, and I live at 576 North Minor Lane here in Madison.
Kara, welcome. And how many years have you been doing this?
That's a great question. As far as Touch a Truck, I mean, we've had summer reading for as long as the library has been an entity, I feel like. But the Touch a Truck, probably the last, I don't know, I would say 6 to 8 years maybe. And they've been in different places. We've done it on Elm Street before. We've done it on Broadway. We've been down at Bicentennial before many years ago. But yeah. So.
It's a fun event. I'm glad you guys do this.
Thank you.
It's a great program and well-attended. And back when I was a kid on Walnut Street, we didn't have the Touch a Truck, but there was the bookmobile that came around town. And those were always fun and exciting, getting a new book. Kids love books, so thanks for doing this. Any questions for Kara?
I don't have a question, but I got a correction.
Okay.
The second paragraph says Monday, June the 3rd. I think it should be June the 2nd.
Yeah.
2025?
Yeah, there was a couple times that you said 2024. It should be 2025.
And, yeah, and 2025, so.
Have to get
But
with
June
that.
the 2nd
I'm gonna get with the author
is
who
the Monday,
drafted this
so-
resolution. Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
Well, I'll make a motion, we approve resolution 2025-14B.
I'll second that motion. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Kara, thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
All right, the next one is, is Tom Stark here? I don't see Tom, so I don't know.
We have a resolution regarding the closing of a portion of Vine Street for the Pride Festival on Saturday, June the 14th. Board, do you want to table this and to the next meeting, or do you want to go ahead and take action on it?
This is something we've done.
Support, we've done it, we did it, this is the second year. Joey, let's just go ahead.
All right.
Yep.
2025-15B, a resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana regarding closing of certain portion of Vine Street for Pride Festival. Whereas there's been a request filed by Thomas Stark for street closing in connection with the Pride Second Annual Festival to be held on Saturday, June 14th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that Vine Street between First Street and Second Street shall be closed on Saturday, June 14th from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. Be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that said street as closed shall be under the supervision and control of Thomas Stark at the times noted above for the year 2025.
If you all were there last year, you'd see this is just a footprint for the food trucks. The actual festival itself is happening inside the borders of the north lawn at the Lanier Mansion. I'll move we approve Resolution 2025-15B.
I'll second the mayor's motion.
Okay, we'll open up for comments or questions. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.
All right. And the final resolution is 2025-16B, resolution of the Board of Public Works and Safety with regard to the 2025 Madison River Fest Barbecue and Blues Festival. Whereas there's been a request filed on behalf of Jim Bartlett, on behalf of the Madison Riverfest Barbecue and Blues Committee for street and parking closings in connection with the Madison Riverfest Barbecue and Blues Festival to be held on Friday, August 15th, 2025 through Saturday, August 16th, 2025. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that the following streets and parking spaces shall be closed from Monday, August 11th through Monday, August 18th, and that's from 6 a.m. on the 11th to 12 p.m. on the 18th. Is there any, I'm just making sure the dates, does the festival go into Sunday at all, or does it end on Saturday?
Sunday's cleanup.
Okay, all right. And the streets we're talking about is Vaughn Drive from the east side of Mill Street to the west side of Jefferson Street, Vine, Elm, Broadway, Poplar, Central, and West Streets, all south from First Street to Vaughn Drive. The parking spaces located on the north and south sides of First Street between West Street and Central Avenue, the grassy lot owned by the City of Madison, located directly north of Chillbelly Treats Restaurant Ice Cream Shop, and south of the alley running west and Mulberry Streets, and the parking lot located on the northeast corner of Jefferson and Vaughn Drive. And be it further resolved by the Board of Public Works and Safety of the City of Madison, Indiana, that said streets, parking spaces, grassy lots, parking lots, and park shall be closed and be under the supervision and control of the Madison Riverfest and Blues Committee at the times noted above for the year 2025.
Jim Bartlett, 602 Mulberry Street, Madison. And it's essentially the same footprint that we've had year after year. The festival is essentially the same festival we've had year after year. We're adding a couple of new activities, but within the existing footprint.
And the entrance to Chillbelly's will be open so they can.
The entrance on Mulberry Street to Chillbelly's will be open. The entrance off Vaughn Drive will be closed.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's the way we've done that for several years.
Yes.
Jim, is the time frame the same? Have we closed that entire corridor all week long leading up to Friday?
Well,
or is it more selective as you
It's selective
kind of
within
gear
that
up to bring
period.
equipment in?
On Monday, the only reason that there would be any closing happening on Monday is if, while fencing and barriers are going up, we need to close at a section for the safety of the workers. And it would only be during that particular period of time. I really don't anticipate that on Monday. Tuesday is Tent Day, which involves some extensive work on Vaughn Drive, plus loading and unloading off of West Street, as well as some extensive work on First Street north of the park. So during those periods of time when there are workers working, absolutely we'll have those sections of road closed. Otherwise, No, it's strictly a matter of when there are workers present until we get up to Friday. Now, starting Friday, the actual festival is happening, so there are people perpetually on the streets that are listed here, and so at that point, the roads will be closed through traffic.
You mentioned two new events.
There are two new activities.
Okay.
On Vaughn Drive, west of West Street, and by the way, this is tentative, but it's in the plan. On Saturday morning, after the amateur barbecuers have vacated the area, we will have a vintage fair. Essentially, it's a group of vintage sales booths in that area, primarily vintage clothing. So that area will continue to be closed during that. And then within the music venue footprint, west of Central Street on the south side of Vaughn, we will have a barbecue marketplace. Now, it's not selling food, it's selling spices and rubs and barbecue hardware and doing some demonstrations. And that will be on the south side of Vaughn, west of Central, roughly in front of Lamplighter Park.
Sounds like a good time. You know, the only thing we've ever really observed, I would say that, you know, might elevate to an area to improve is with the amateur barbecuers, and, you know, they leave the street pretty messy with coals, and in some instances, you know, pouring things down the drains. And I was just wondering if we could improve the education of that, which is, it needs to be as spotless as they found it, Jim.
And that's, particularly with the coals, that's definitely going to have to be cleaned up before the vintage fair can set up, because they can't set up on top of coals. So there is, I'll make sure that I emphasize that to the director of the amateur barbecue section, that she needs to educate those booths that if they pour anything down the drain, they're going to get fined. If they don't clean up their area, they're going to get fined.
Well, it should be maybe something mentioned that you want to come back next year.
Yeah, well, that's part of being fined.
Yeah, okay.
Yep. Well, you guys do a good job organizationally. It's a great event for the city of Madison. It's, you know, it's the beginning of or part of, you know, a whole series of great music festivals. So thank you, Jim, personally, as well as the team, for continuing to bring back a great experience for Madison and the region. Any other questions for Jim on 2025-16B? Hearing none, I'll move that we approve Resolution 2025-16B as presented.
I'll second your motion.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Now, I appreciate your all's patience, but we also have a Airstream Urban Rally in June of 2026, sir, that you've been oh, Andrew, were you going to say some more remarks?
Yep.
Oh, you're here with them?
I'll
Perfect.
introduce them, yeah.
Perfect.
Well, really appreciate the opportunity to introduce Artie and Pam Martin. They are with the Airstreams, and they have been coming to Madison for a number of years now, and usually hold a rally out at the fairgrounds. But approached Visit Madison, talked with Lucy on our team, and started working on that process of having an urban rally in downtown Madison. And they're working with their board to try and get that finalized for 2026 so they can start promoting it. And usually I know the tradition of Board of Public Works is not to handle things until, you know, it gets into that year.
Well, something as big as this, you have to plan ahead.
We got to plan. So that's why we wanted to get them here, at least get a direction from Board of Public Works, if not, you know, the official okay, but kind of share what they have planned to have this urban rally in downtown Madison, and get some direction from the board. So
Perfect.
Here's Artie Martin.
Artie, welcome to Madison, sir. Where are you from?
I am from, I live at 7 T Street, Florence, Kentucky.
Okay.
Just not too far from here. We at the Airstream Club, and especially Region 5, I'm the immediate past president of Region 5 Airstream Club, which constitutes Indiana, Kentucky, and Illinois. There's 12 regions across the country. We have almost 20,000 members now, but we're not going to bring all 20 of them here at
Wow.
once. So,
Doubling our population overnight.
So, and once again, we'll actually be having a rally out at the fairgrounds again in September. We'll be bringing our region out to that. Just kind of a brainchild kind of a thing. This has been going on in the country now. It's all over the country, really. Cities are opening up their main streets and things like they have, like you guys have in such a beautiful riverfront, to do what we call an urban rally. Worcester, Ohio's doing it. In your PowerPoint package, you'd probably see some pictures I included of what an event like that looks like. And originally, I actually approached Lucy and I said, hey, can we do it on Main Street? No, you can't do it on Main Street. There ain't no way that's going to happen. So anyway, what we came up with was this, and it would be a unique event for the city of Madison. We plan to park 50 to 60 Airstreams on the south side of Vaughn Drive. Of course, their doors would open up to the river. I took the time a few weeks back to actually walk the whole sidewalk of Vaughn Drive with a wheel, and I measured out 2,000 feet to see if I could come up with 2,000 feet that would be adequate. I did. In fact, I came up with probably a lot more, but I stopped at 2,000 because I said, if we're going to try an event like this, it's the first time Region 5 has ever done anything like this, but it's basically a rally like we always plan.
Yeah.
It's just the location we're doing it and having to work around the water, the electric, and bathhouses, and dump stations and things that, we normally have that we don't. So we've worked with BMI to put together a pretty good plan. We would do it the second weekend of June 2026. That's June the 11th. There's a correction. We actually wouldn't leave till Sunday the 14th. That's on my request for proposal.
Okay.
Parking and logistics, we would actually have to meet at the fairgrounds on that Wednesday prior. We would then, on Thursday morning early, start around 8 o'clock. We'd start bringing Airstreams into Madison, 4 or 5 at a time, so we don't create traffic headaches with, people waiting to turn right or left to get down to the riverfront. We would park them, we'd signal for more to come, and hopefully by 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, we've got everybody parked. We've reviewed the parking situation for our tow vehicles, and there's adequate parking. We would use, like I said, pretty close to 2,000 feet of riverfront. We would also need the legacy lot because it has electric available, and those would be for folks that have to have electric because of CPAP machines, things like that. And we would also rent Hunter Hall. We agreed on a price to actually pay for the sites, or we agreed, meaning we discussed something that would be proposed that would, City of Madison could actually gain, like $9,000 for the event. Plus, everywhere we go in our group, we always have what we call it's a charity project pretty much. But we decided just moving forward, we've been to Madison so many times that why not let Madison benefit from our charity? And we usually raise $2,000 or $3,000 in charitable events while we're here, and we would want to donate that to the Parks Department.
This sounds amazing. And
So-
have you done an urban rally before?
I've been to them. I've
Okay.
never actually planned one. So this is fun. It's fun, and it's the first time for Madison, and it's going to be the first time for us as well, at least in our region. So, yeah, we're looking forward to moving forward. I've got a meeting next month that I have to provide a motion for the date and the location to do this next year. So that's one of the reasons I'm here a year in advance. I appreciate your all's time and effort, and if you've had a chance to look over the PowerPoint or the request for proposal, any questions you might have.
I'm just taking a quick look at our calendar, because that weekend does not...
That is the Madison in Bloom.
Okay. Okay.
Match up real well then.
Yeah, and I think that matches really well up with our clientele. I mean, springtime is beautiful here, and springtime's beautiful everywhere, but
And is there coordinated activities through those few days that you're here with everybody?
Yes, we'd be setting up tours, the trolley tours, the Lanier Mansion, wine tours, whatever.
This sounds like a lot of fun. I think I want to do it myself.
Yeah.
My gosh.
Yeah, and what's unique about it is that, believe it or not, people see Airstreams all over the road, all over the highways, and they go, wow, one of these days I want to have one of those, and we're not out to sell them.
Yeah.
It's just the camaraderie and the fellowship that
Sure.
we all enjoy. We've been members 15 years, and we just, the amount of friends and things we've seen, just in our local area, it's just unbelievable. But anyway, we really love Madison, and
I know you gave us a presentation. Thank you for that. I think it's a great opportunity for us to share with the rest of the world, as you already know, and Andrew knows very, very well, what a beautiful community this is, and having a rally like this on the river. Yes, you have a question?
I just have a quick question. If you could share with us the difference, I just absolutely love Airstreams, but if you could share the difference between an Airstream and a regular RV, or
Well,
so
okay.
behind, I think they're
Okay.
fully
Well,
self-sufficient, correct?
a regular travel trailer is kind of like a box. It goes straight up and down on the sides, and then, you may have a little curve in the front and back, but Airstreams look like an airplane, the fuselage of an airplane.
So they're fully self-sufficient, is that correct?
That is correct.
So, okay, I just wanted to be sure
Pretty
that
cool. That's why
everybody knew that.
you can work around some of the
Yep.
environmental things with regard to water and electricity and other services.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
You
part
bring the
of-
Airstream, we'll provide the beauty and the riverfront. How about that?
Right. That's true.
Do you need the pylons, the cones, or do you bring your own, and say you're gonna need that?
We don't have those. That's one thing, of course, Lucy and I had talked about street closures, and we thought maybe we could do this without street closures.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna be facing the sidewalk towards
Yeah.
the river. There is one little area that's, I wanna call a semi-arc. It's over closer to the Lanier Mansion, where we can get 5 or 6 Airstreams on the other side of the
On the
street.
north side there.
We can get 5 or 6 Airstreams over there, so
What would be the footprint between what streets?
it will be between,
Oh, got it. Okay.
south side of Vaughn Drive, west and east, between Plum and West. And we're gonna try to avoid road closures. But I'm sure that the city, for an event like this, puts up signage, and as far as cones go, it wouldn't be a bad idea for cones on the backside of the trailers on the
You might
front.
want to, or you might want to reduce it down to one lane if we want to keep it open and have it be one lane, one lane, one direction. All kinds of options here. We can figure those details out.
Okay.
I think what you're asking for today is perhaps just an opinion on how we feel about it, which for me, and they can
Well,
speak for
for
themselves.
for us right now, we can amend our motion to finalize what
Yes.
we're gonna have to charge our members based upon what we can pay you, and still have money left over to provide money for them to do things while they're here.
Okay.
Because we try to include things to do, like tours and things like that, that's part of their package when they pay for the price, so.
I include the Frank Taft Fire Department Museum out here in Walnut.
We have an awesome fire department museum.
We're all
That's-
volunteer fire departments, so.
He's, and someday his plaque will be in there as probably the oldest living firefighter in the world.
Oldest living.
Now, wait
Who's
a
older?
minute.
Wait, who's
Wait,
older?
wait a minute.
Who's older? I'm sitting on my two bookend firefighters here. Who's older?
I'm 77.
He's older, but I got more years of service.
Oh.
so.
So as we move forward with this, can I contact you and?
There's all kinds of great things to
Or I'll
see
just
here.
work with Andrew.
Yes,
and
please
I'll
do.
just work with
He's got all
Andrew.
of our-
Yeah,
all
because
our numbers here.
that's something we haven't done here yet, so that's something.
We can
definitely would
finalize
be
the
interested.
details, I think, in maybe a future meeting, but for now, I'm comfortable if the board is approving, reserving that weekend, and working with VMI and, what's the name of the organization, sir?
Region 5 Airstream Club.
Region 5 Airstream Club for their urban rally, June 11th through 14th in Madison, Indiana.
I'll make a motion, then we approve that.
Okay, I second it.
I think this is a great opportunity for tourism. To me, this is a type of events that we want.
Yeah.
You know, bring people to town. It's, good group of people, and hopefully your people, once they come here for the first time, they'll want to come back. You know,
Yes.
have a good
Well,
experience.
and stay at our campground.
Exactly, yeah. And hopefully a future campground out
Well,
at Kruger Lake.
the past two times we were here with Region 5 when we stayed at the fairgrounds, that was in 2016 and 2020. We took like probably about 100 to 125 people up to Clifty Falls and had a banquet dinner.
Oh, great.
So there's money to be spent, and everybody loves Clifty Falls while they're here too.
Sure.
A lot of people will take their dogs up there, and of course you've got the dog park now down here on
got the
Riverfront now too. So
Heritage Walk.
the Heritage Walk. These are all things that all of our folks would just truly love.
Rent a golf cart and drive around, see.
Yeah, and we're gonna rent some golf carts too. So
Hopefully you have a good experience, and maybe we could get on your rotational, like
in some of the cities,
every 5
sir,
years or so, come here and
in some of the cities, it's become an annual event. A lot of people come downtown because, believe it or not, they've never seen an Airstream travel trailer before. We actually will put in our program that some of us will select to go ahead and have an open house kind of a deal. So when people are walking up and down the street, you can stop in, you can see one that's a 1957, or you can see one that's a brand-new 2025.
It's a lifestyle, isn't it?
It is. It's a lifestyle. It really is. And, of course, I just recently retired, so I'm really starting now to really start to experience what it's like to be gone for 6 weeks and go to Yellowstone.
Yeah.
You know,
The thing
so-
I ask is, I get invited to your dinner. I know y'all have a big pitch in, right?
Yes, we do.
Okay, that's my only request.
Yes, we do.
That's not a requirement of the approval. He's just looking for an invitation.
I like home cooking, so there you go.
Well, we invite retired firemen everywhere we go.
All right, I'll be there. I'll be there.
he's always looking for a free meal. So.
He walks 10 miles a day too, so he'll see every one of those
I'll walk by every
Airstream.
We're not much different than that. We're always looking for a good meal.
Yeah. Well, we do have a motion and a second. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah.
Perfect. Mr. Martin, thank you so much for being here today, and we'll look forward to working with Andrew and his team at VMI to bring this to fruition, and we appreciate you considering Madison for such a unique event.
Thank you and the city for your time, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for
Thank you.
so patiently sitting through our lengthy agenda today.
Thank you.
Thank you. We have a PACE final. We'll invite Bruna. She is.
Can we address the housekeeping issue for the 10-minute loading, unloading zone? It was passed at the BPW meeting on March 17th. According to the minutes, I've attached it. We just need to have you all sign that paperwork. I just wanted to put it on record that we'll have that signed and get that to Gina and the street department.
Chief, did we speak with the Hong Kong Kitchen in front?
We did not. I tried to call him a couple times, haven't been able to get him on the phone.
I'd really like to, I'm okay with the concept of putting the 10-minute loading in. It's not going to be, because it's yellow right in front of their space, isn't it?
It is, right in front of their door, and that's what we run into a lot, is people parking in that yellow to run in and get their carry-out food.
But are we
from-
changing the,
No, we're not changing the yellow. It would be
Striping?
the first spot past the yellow would be the 10-minute, and I think it'll be beneficial
good bitch fish for everybody?
for everybody, the city, Hong Kong, and
I can't imagine they have any issues with it.
But I have tried to reach out, but
Okay.
I'll continue to try.
Well, I'm going to Hong Kong Kitchen tonight, so
You wanna
I
ask
will
them?
ask.
Okay.
What's that? I will ask
You,
them.
okay,
Yes.
perfect.
Do you want to postpone
No.
signing this? Okay.
And Brenda?
Sorry about that. I don't know why the PowerPoint was so slow, but it would not download, so. Okay, so I have a final for you guys, for 1 West 6th Street. This was a rehab grant for, the full 7,500. They're requesting the full, amount. They did a lot of tuck pointing and the replacement of historic brick with appropriate replacements. It had been replaced before, but with modern materials, so it didn't work. The final pictures that you see, there is still scaffolding up because there were phases to the chimney project. So they have done the first phase, which I believe was the top section, and they're working their way down. So they were stabilizing it so they could continue work on that.
I talked with Mayor Dalcorn. He said that they've put in 8,000 historic brick for that chimney.
Yeah, I think it was in the packet that you guys got, but they said that the first quarter of the total chimney project is $33,700. Wow. The total project will come out to over $300,000.
On the building, and it's great investment, really grateful they're doing it, and they're doing it right, which is awesome.
Yeah, so they are still actively
Happy
working on
part of it. I move we approve the final pay application for 1 West 6th Street as presented by Brenna.
I'll second the mayor's motion.
Any discussion? Audience, is there any comment? Are there any comments or questions? Hearing none? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Love the form.
It's getting better. All right. Moving on to mayor's comments. I want to thank everybody for, I want to thank my team, the contractors, the vendors, supporters for the response to the severe weather and particularly the cleanup from the flooding. We still have a lot of work to do in our public spaces, but we had one goal in mind, and that was to get Vaughn Drive opened up before Easter, and they did it in about 3.5 days, which was amazing, but took a tremendous amount of effort by our teams and our fire department's assistants too, our leadership from all the departments, the outreach organization of that with Hannah and others. Phenomenal, very grateful. But again, we have a lot of damage on the riverfront, and continue to have to work on our public spaces, and particularly the campground, Hargan Matthews, the dog park, Crystal Beach. A lot of assets on the riverfront that we're continuing to work on and committed to get reopened as soon as possible. Also, hope everybody had a great Easter. And tomorrow at City Council, we will be swearing in 4 new police officers. So congratulations there, Chief Scudder, with the hiring of 4 new police officers who are preparing to go to the police academy. I should have asked Chris while I was here to give an update, but we are, relative to the Madison Transfer Station Rehabilitation Project, which was part of our TSO modernization plans from last year. The design work is complete. We'll have a pre-bid conference on April the 23rd, which is this week. And then we're out to bid, and we'll have a bid opening on May the 1st with a review. And then we'll be back here at the May 5th board meeting for approval of the bids and contract signing. Goal will be to mobilize by the end of May with substantial completion occurring by October. So that'll be basically the last phase of the TSO modernization that we've been working on for the past 1.5 years or so. And a lot of work's gone into that too. I will stop there, and I don't see anyone in the public who would be invited to the podium, so I'll turn it over to my colleagues here. Do you have any remarks to make before we adjourn? And our next meeting is Monday, May the 5th.
I was glad to see that they said they decided to kind of slow down and not concentrate on Kiwanis Park, but to move the baseball and other activities to John Paul Park and to the Hilltop.
Yeah.
I think it was a good idea. I don't know who.
It's our Parks Department, Tanya and Christian, doing a great job there, gearing up for all the summer activities and putting our resources there to make sure we have the best experiences, best fields there. And it'll take some time. Kiwanis was one I didn't mention, but that's another public space that's going to take some time to bring back. There was a lot of damage to Kiwanis Park on the walls and the fencing in particular.
Is Crystal Beach going to be able to open on schedule?
Yes. We did a lot of preemptive work ahead of the severe weather, and that has saved all of our electronic assets that are there, the pumps and the motors and electronics, and now it's cleaning it up and draining the pool, and that also required some, we have a culvert that's blocked up next to the pool, so we're trying to work on that as well. But yes, it'll be open in time for Memorial Day weekend.
Great.
And that's because of a lot of hard work that went into the preparation and now the response to the storm. It's been quite a year with regard to severe weather. I could go the rest of the year without any bad weather. Anything else, Board? Clerk?
Happy Dingus Day.
Happy Dingus Day. Who would have known? Thank you, everyone. And motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.